Okay guys, I'm going to make a quick little video on the test 7 review. This is on transformations. Okay, so I'm going to go through this kind of quick. Okay, so first of all, this is what you're given on number 1. You have that there. I did a little highlighting here just to draw your attention to a couple of those points. For point C, that's going to be used for number 1. Number 1 is asking, find the image C under the translation described by the translation rule xy to x plus 11, y minus 8. First of all, in translations, all you're doing is you're moving it. This is just like to a location. This is all about location. Okay, so this is telling you you're going to take the original point, whatever it is, and it's going to be changed by adding 11 to the x and subtracting 11 from the y in this particular case. So on this one, this says we're talking about point C. So point C, when you're looking at this, one thing I will tell you, first of all, from this graph right here, we're not going by ones, we're going by twos. That's why the C over here, this is way back here in quadrant 3. So you're going at quadrant 2, -2, -4, -6. And not quite to -8, this is -7 for the x, and then you're going up to 2. So this is the point -7, 2. So for number 1, since that's your point, -7, 2, yeah, that's what you're going to put in for x and y. So it's going to be -7 plus 11, comma 2 minus 8. So your point is going to be 4, comma -6. Okay, so 4, comma -6. When we come back over here, well, where is 4, 6, so you're going to go over to 4, so 2, 4, and then down 2, -2, -4, and -6, and that'll be point D. So number 1 is point D. Number 2, find the translation rule that describes the translation from B, which is over here, to A. So for B over here, you're talking about -2, and then a little more, that's going to be -3 for x, then you're going to go down -2, -4, -6, this is going to be -8. So this is going to be the point -3, -8. A is going to be, you're going to go over 2, 4, a little more, so that's going to be 5 for x, and then you're going to go up 2, 4, and then 6, so that point is 5, 6. So the rule, your rule is written like so. You're saying xy to then whatever you're taking it to. Okay, so I'm trying to go from -3 to +5. So I know I'm going to have, in my rule, I'm going to have xy to, it's going to be x plus something. Well, what am I adding? To get the number that you're adding, all you got to do is the second one minus the first. 5 minus -3 is going to be, remember, minus negative changes to a plus. That'll be 5 plus 3. That's why this is just 8. And then for the y, it's the same thing. It's going to be y plus, so second minus the first. 6 minus -8. That's going to, since you're subtracting a negative, you're saying 6 plus 8. And 6 plus 8 is going to be 14. So this one is xy to x plus 8, y plus 14. For number 3, the vertices of rectangle R, S, T, and U, a translation maps R to this point over here. So I wrote R prime. This is going to be your new R. Okay, find the translation rule, and this is a two-parter here, and the image of U. So in other words, I got to find the rule first, and then just like I just did on the one before, and after I get the rule, then I'm gonna put in this x and y for U, so I can get my new U. So I know I'm gonna have x, y too, so it's gonna be x plus something. So to get that, all I gotta do is the second minus the first. So -13 minus -5. Minus negative changes to plus. -13 plus 5 is a -8. Okay, so it's going to be then y, and then we're going to do the same thing for y. -3 minus -5 minus negative, that changes to plus. -3 plus 5 is a +2. So here's your rule here, xy to x minus 8, y plus 2. Now that we have our rule, now we can find u prime. So I'm going to use the -5 and 1 for my x and y. So I have that over here. So in other words, I'm going to have, this is my new rule, x minus 8, y plus 2. So I'm going to plug in -5 for the x, So I'm going to have negative 5 minus 8, which is negative 13. 1 plus 2 is going to be 3. So this is going to be my new u. This would be your u prime. Okay, number 4. The vertices of the triangle PQR. Name the vertices. Okay, if you can see this, I know it's kind of small. You're saying this means the reflection. Well, what are you reflecting? You're reflecting the triangle PQR over the line y equals x. Okay, so for simplicity here, they already are giving us our points, P, Q, and R. I'm reflecting over the line y equals x. What this means in actuality is that you have, over here, this means that this is going to be over the line y equals x, okay? Without trying to think about it too much about what it's going to look like and all that kind of stuff, you're literally saying y equals x. All you're doing is you're switching the coordinates. So P was negative 4, negative 5. P prime is going to be negative 5, negative 4. You're just swapping those. Q prime, just switch those, so it'll be 2, 5. R prime will be negative 1, 4. And that's it. That's that. Okay, for number 5. And by the way, 1, 2, and 3 were translations. 4, 5, and 6 here are reflections. The vertices of triangle PQR, name the vertices. Here our reflection is going to be over the x-axis. Okay, I did this over here, just kind of an example. You're reflecting over the x-axis. If you're reflecting over the x-axis, the x is not changing, okay? It'd be like you have a point there and then you're reflecting it over here. The x is the same. What's changing is the y. The y changes signs. So that's why I have my points here. So remember, x doesn't change, so it's still going to be 2, but that's going to change to positive 7. Q, that's still going to be negative 2 for Q prime, but it's going to be negative 7. And R is negative 8, 3, so R prime is going to be negative 8, still negative 8, but then that's going to change to a negative 3, okay? Now, number 6 is kind of the same, but this one we're reflecting over the y-axis. Okay, if this is over the y-axis, I also did a point that is supposed to be aligned. So if you're going over the y-axis, the y is still the same. What changes is your x. Okay, so the x changes signs. So that's why here, these are our points. Okay, so my y is staying the same. That's going to stay 7 here for P prime, but the x changes to a positive 6. For the Q, that y value is still going to be 6, but the x changes to a positive 6. And for R prime, that's still going to be a 7 for the y, but the x is going to be a negative 5. All right, so what's the next page? Okay, now on this one, this is our third transformation, which are rotations. Okay, so a carnival ride is drawn on a coordinate plane so that the first car is located at the point negative 26, 24. What are the coordinates of the first car after the rotation of 270 degrees about the origin? Okay, so for this, I want you to think about if you ever went to a carnival. No, don't do that. I'm just kidding. Okay, the point is you need a point here. If you're going to rotate 270 degrees, this is your rule here. I don't have the rules here, but if you go in that module for 2, 3, or no, take that back. The module for 8.1 in Canvas, the first thing it has there are the translation rules. You can find the rotation translation rules on there. I don't have them written down here, but this is the one for rotating 270 degrees. What happens is from your point, if you're going to rotate 90 or 270 degrees, you swap out the coordinates, like you switch the x and the y. Okay, but if it's 270, you change the sign for that second one. Okay, so from the x. Okay, this does not mean that you're going to make it negative. It means you're going to change the sign of whatever that one was. So what that means is, since this was negative 26, 24, there's your x, y. The first thing you're going to do is swap these. So 24 and 26. But here, remember, you're changing the sign for that first one. Well, this first one is a negative 26. So for this one, it's going to be positive 26. There's just going to be 24 at 26. Okay. Number 8. Vertices of a triangle are at A prime, B prime, C prime. If triangle A prime, B prime, C prime is just rotated 270 degrees about the origin, where were the original points A, B, and C? So this is like saying that you already rotated 270 degrees. What were they to begin with? So for here, I'm just writing the rule. Remember, this is the rule right here for rotating 270 degrees. I'm just going to switch those. So I'm going to say y comma negative x is going to be, because essentially that's what these are, okay? And because we're trying to get the original points here. So my A prime here is -4, -1. This starts to get a little confusing. -4, -1, right? Okay, well, I want from this, I want to get my original A. Okay, now this looks confusing and everything, but just keep in mind here, what's happening is that first one, that first point, in this case, -4, ends up being the last one for the one that you want. So -4 I started out with, so it's -4 there. And then the other one switches signs. So the other one was -1, so that's going to be a positive one here. For B, this is going to be -2, so -2 goes at the end. -10 was the other one. You change the sign on that, that becomes that X. 0, 0 doesn't have any signs, so that one's still going to stay 0, 0. Okay? For number 9, a microscope shows the image of an object that is 180 times the object's actual size, so the scale factor of the enlargement of 180 degrees. An insect has a body length of 9 millimeters. What is the body length of the insect under the microscope? Now, first of all, on this, the only thing you're looking at, this is a dilation. Those two were rotations. The rest of these are dilations. If you're doing a dilation, that's where you make something either bigger or smaller. Okay? If you make it bigger, it's called an enlargement. You make it smaller, it's a reduction. In either case, all that means is you're multiplying by the scale factor. Well, they told you what your scale factor was. Here it's 180, because it's 180 times. So you're just going to say 180 times whatever that length was. In this case, that's 9. Well, 180 times 9, that's 1620, 1,620. Okay, millimeters. Okay, number 10. Find the vertices of D5 for ABCD. Okay, what this means, that notation means that there's your scale factor right there. It's 5. That means you're multiplying whatever the coordinates are, both the x and the y, by 5. Okay, so for simplicity, I would say, first of all, list these points. You have your A, B, C, and D. And I have those here. Remember, these are going by 2s. You know what I mean? Like 2, 4, and then you go up here. So, for example, C would be at 5, 3. Okay? Anyway, so I listed the points here. Remember, this just means you're just multiplying them all by 5. So, XY is going, this is your rule, is going to be 5x, 5y. So just multiply each of these by 5. So, bam, here you know A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime. Okay, all right, last one. A quadrilateral ABCD has vertices A, B, C, and D. Which graph shows the image of ABC after transformation of XY to 5x, 4y? In other words, from here, you're multiplying all the x's by 5, you're multiplying all the y's by 4. So here's your A, B, and C. Now, this is really hard to tell. That's why I wrote this in here just to kind of bring a little attention to your eyes there. Okay, remember, these are going by 2s. So, in other words, A is at -2, 2. B is at 2, 2. C is at 2, -2. D is at -2, -2. Okay, list the points, and then remember, you're just multiplying all those x's by 5. You're multiplying all the y's by 4. Okay, well, here, what the question is like, from the graph, which graph is it? Okay. Now, this is very, I highlighted the A prime, B prime, C prime, and D prime for each of these, so you can kind of see that, okay? Because if not, this you can't really tell. This one's going to be, and I did this here, these are the points you're looking for, and this one is going to be C, because there you see that you have your A prime is at -10, 8, your B prime is at 10, 8, and your C prime is at 10, -8, and your D prime is at -10, -8. Okay, so that's how you got to look at this. Okay, you can get those coordinates here and all that, and of course It's not that one, not that one, not that one. The right one is going to be C. All right, guys. I hope this helps, and make sure you do your test in Canvas. And if you have any questions, make sure you email me or message me in Canvas. Talk to y'all later. Bye.